One of my favorite things about learning to cook from scratch is really having the ability to get creative with some of the classics that we have relied on for a long time and just learning to switch them up. So it is Sunday and I am just getting ready for the week. I am cleaning up my fridge, looking at what we have and what we might still need. And we went to the farmer's market and I got some really unique finds, and I'm really excited to share some of them with you guys this week. First up on the docket is your classic hamburger and french fries. Now, I have struggled with making the perfect french fry at home, but I think I have nailed it, and I am extremely excited about it, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So I am cutting these potatoes really thin, like think McDonald's thin. I am covering them with water, and then I am going to add in a lot of salt because salt makes very good flavored fries. And we are going to basically pickle them. So I'm adding in a good bit of vinegar, probably about at least a fourth a cup. And I'm heading outside to my vertical planter where I planted all of our herbs and a few other veggies this summer. And I grabbed some dill and I grabbed some parsley and some rosemary and a few other herbs, whatever I had there. I'm not even sure. I think I just grabbed a little bit of everything, to be honest. You can use whatever herbs you like. I just had these all, so I wanted to give them a shot. So I just broke them up and I put them in the mixture and I submerged them, and then I covered it with plastic wrap and I put it into the fridge to sit overnight. So they sat for about 24 hours. This is probably about 3 or 4 o'clock Sunday time. So they sat for 24 hours and they really got a chance to absorb all of the liquid. And then I am just getting prepped some burgers. Now, you guys, I have had the busiest week for work. I don't know what it is, but it's just like the craziest season. We're having new systems and we have just a lot of new people and new positions, and it has taken a lot of time and I've been working a lot of extra hours. So getting stuff prepped has been really important for me, and I am just getting these burger patties done. Now, you can obviously, get prepped burger patties from the store, but you are paying a premium on having that convenience, and sometimes it is worth it. I am not afraid to do that, but I do really like to have the option to control all of our flavors. We put a little bit of garlic powder, some parsley in there, and I just took some parchment paper and I am just separating them on a plate so that we have them ready to grab the next day. And the other thing that I like to do is I really like thin burgers, and so does my husband. So I made these all about somewhere between an eighth and a sixth of a pound. This was a whole pound of ground beef, and I want to say we made like 6 to 7 burgers, so probably a sixth of a pound. And I'm just putting those to sit overnight too. And you also have the advantage of just getting all of those flavors really well developed. So that night, I also put together some dough, and this is just the next morning after it sat out overnight and fermented. I did a sourdough bun and I put it in the fridge. And sorry, this is actually just before dinner. I had put it in the fridge in the morning, and I took it out of the fridge just before dinner so that it was easy to work with. It was a little bit cooler, so it wasn't as sticky. And I had decided to do a little bit of an experiment and put some sesame seeds on half of them just to see how they turned out, because I saw I had it in the cupboard and they were pretty good. I wasn't sure if my husband would eat the ones with the sesame seeds, or my son, he might think it's kind of odd, and so I decided to skip it on half of them. But I can't say that they really changed the flavor or anything. So if you have them, it's fun, it makes them nice, but it's not really a big deal if you don't have it. So throw those in the oven. And then I am now taking the fries out of the fridge, and I am putting a paper towel underneath to kind of catch some of that liquid, because you want pretty dry fry going into the hot oil, and you want to put some oil on the stove, about 350. I don't have a thermometer in this rental, so I'm just kind of guessing on what the actual heat is. And I put a timer on for 10 minutes, and that seemed to be like the perfect amount of time to get these really crispy, crunchy. So I've seen a few different ways on like how to fry fries, and some people swear by like doing kind of a a pre-fry, cooling them down either in the freezer or just the fridge for a couple, like, 30 minutes to an hour, and then refrying them. But like, I don't have that kind of time on a weeknight, and I'm sure you don't either. So I found that this just 10-minute straight fry with these really thin cuts was absolutely perfect. And the fact that it kind of softened a little bit in the water overnight just made it an absolutely perfect fry. And here you can see the buns. This is like the best buns that I have ever made. And I am so excited to finally master my burger bun, because it has been a struggle for me to really get a good bun. Now, I am just putting the burgers on this skillet here. If you want to get the grill, fried up or started up, it is summer and we're finally having good weather to get outside. But we were in a rush. It's been, like I said, a very busy work week. And so I was just trying to get dinner on the table here, and we just, did it on the stove. I put some cheese on there. And then I just assembled everything with some homemade ranch, some tomatoes, and you guys, this was so good. And like, I think when I did the math, it came out to about like $3 a plate, which is insane, because if you think about the amount of money that, if you went out to eat, that would cost just like so much more money. So now this is later in the week. I will admit we ended up getting some takeout because, like I said, work was absolutely insane. And so this was like probably like Wednesday or Thursday. I threw together this dish, and like I said, we went to the farmer's market, and I don't know what came over me, but I was like, I'm going to try this duck. I've never seen duck at the farmer's market before, and I've never had the opportunity to make it. So I decided to grab it, and I got these little baby potatoes. I had grabbed some more herbs from my vertical planter, and I put a little bit of olive oil and salt and some garlic in there as well. And then I took the duck and I put some olive oil on it too, because from what I was reading, like, it helped make it a little bit crispy. And honestly, I had a hard time finding like really good consistent recipes for duck. Like, they were all over the place on cooking it. So I ended up doing about like 400 for 45 minutes, and it looked done. Like I said, I don't have a meat thermometer here, so I was just kind of going based on luck, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking for me, honestly, to make duck, and I'm usually not too intimidated on making new things, but this was definitely a little bit more of an intimidating thing for me. So once it looked nice and crispy, I took it out, and the potatoes still needed like a little bit more time, and so I chopped up some Brussels sprouts as well, and I put that in the pan, and I gave it a really nice stir, added a little bit more seasoning to it, and I put it back in the oven for about like 15 or so more minutes, and it ended up being nice and crispy, and it was really delicious. And while I thought the dish turned out really good, I will say I think that we would probably just get chicken in the future, just from a cost perspective and like the amount of meat that you get per pound. I think a chicken is a little bit more better bang for your buck. With that said, it was really fun to really try something new, like that we really haven't had before. I'm honestly not sure if I even have had duck before. We have had duck eggs a lot, and I love baking with those, but it was fun to try something different, and I'm really happy that we ventured out with that. So this is what they look like. And like I said, we really don't get like a ton of meat. So that's, again, another reason why we wouldn't do it. Okay, so now we are doing chili, and you can see I accidentally dropped the whole thing in the pan. Luckily, it wasn't hot enough that I was able to save it. So I put 2 pounds of meat, and we are making chili here. And you guys, this is like the best chili I've ever made in my life. These are pork bones, and I got those at the farmer's market. And I have always been looking for soup bones. These are like pork soup bones. And I've been looking for beef soup bones, and every time I go, they don't have it. And I've never seen pork beef bones. And I asked the guy, I was like, what do you recommend making with these? And he said, there's a guy, and he has made chili with them. And I was like, okay, let's try it. So this was like the key ingredient here, and it was so dang good. So I also cut up these strawberry onions, and I don't know, I've never seen these up north, but I've seen these a few times now here in the south. And I don't know if it's just like local or just haven't seen them up in the Midwest where I'm from, but I really like these. They have like just a really nice little sweet taste, which I thought was a really nice compliment in the chili. You can obviously use regular onions, that's totally fine, but these ended up being just like such a nice addition. So I went ahead and chopped these up and I put them in there while the meat was frying with the pork bones, and just so they could get like a nice caramelized kind of flavor to them. And then I also chopped up this pepper and I was hoping to do a few peppers, but unfortunately I just did not get to them before they went bad, which I just like hate. I hate wasting food, and I can't wait to get back home where I can compost at least, if stuff starts to go bad. But anyways, I chopped up this orange bell pepper, and I put that in there, which was like a really nice addition as well. And then I did a few cloves of garlic, and in my opinion, you can never have enough garlic. And if you agree with me, let me know, because sometimes I feel like people are like, oh, that's too much garlic. And I don't know. I just never think there's a limit on garlic. So I think I did about 4 cloves here, and that was a really nice amount. And I put that in there. And then as it was all frying up, I put a little more salt in there. I just felt like it definitely needed salt with all of that meat in there. And this is kind of what it looked like halfway through the frying process. And once it was pretty close to being done, I just stuck a piece of paper towel in there. That is like my cheat hack of trying to drain grease. So it's getting pretty greasy with the pork bones. And so I just started to like mop up some of the grease. And then once we were pretty close to being done, I put the garlic in there, and then I also chopped up a spicy pepper that I got from our local food stand, and then I also put in some taco meat. So I always like to kind of season the beef kind of separately from the sauce of the chili. I would just find that like if you start to season the beef before you put the sauce in, it just gives that beef a little bit extra flavor. And like, this is exactly why I need to start wearing an apron while I cook. If you watch me, I totally splash stuff all over me. You guys, I just really need to get an apron. But anyways, I was trying it, tasting it. It was so good. And so I just put it on simmer, and I let it sit for like 2 hours just so that like all of the flavors could kind of marry together. And while this was cooking, I also had in the Instapot some black beans that I put on pressure cook, and I put that for about an hour and a half. So once those were done, I just threw them into the pot as well, just so that they could kind of marry all the flavors together. This was hands down the best chili I've ever made, and I always put noodles in my chili. I know some people are going to hate that, but if you are with me, let me know in the comments, because I think that's such a Midwest thing. And if this is something that you really like, go ahead and subscribe. I put videos like this out all the time, and then you can follow my meals made from scratch playlist that I will link here too, and this has tons of other ideas for you as well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week.